This is the Nicholson Nugget. Today is July 31st, 2020. I'm here with my little sister.
Hi.
Say your name.
Mary Nicholson.
Awesome. And she's here to talk a little bit about what she's been doing in Newcastle in regards to some of the events. And she was recently on another podcast talking about what's going on in Newcastle and the things that she's been able to be involved in. So today, last day of July, we're going to talk a little bit about what she's been doing and what's been going on in Newcastle, Indiana. I'm very honored and proud to have you on the Nicholson Nugget. I'm proud of all the stuff that you're doing, and also that you invited me to the Juneteenth celebration that they had in Newcastle, and I believe that was the very first one that they've had in the whole entire history.
Yes, the very first Juneteenth celebration in history in Henry County. It was
Awesome.
pretty big deal. We hope to continue to have it grow and grow and grow, and get more people and more vendors, and hopefully have a better understanding of what Juneteenth is and how we probably need to do a little bit more cultural involvement in our area.
Yeah. I noticed the mayor was there, and that was
He was.
Yes.
He was. In fact, he is super excited. He really did enjoy the program, and he's so excited that he was talking about, when we do this next year.
Wow.
It wasn't if we do this next year, because we were actually a little concerned when we asked, because we knew so many people didn't know what it was. And when I say we, I'm talking about our group, the Light Keepers. So we had already had done the vigil for George Floyd earlier, and that was a scary time, but a good time. It was really nice to see people come together for that as well. I was really proud of everybody in the community for coming together. We did have, a few little scary incidents. People were threatening some violence and things. And I guess that let us really know that our work was important, because
Right.
a lot of people were pretty convinced that we didn't have an issue with racism here. And I think that especially, it's one thing to disagree. I don't really like the whole premise of, having a vigil for a man that we didn't know or we feel like was breaking the law, all of those things. That's one thing, but when you are threatening to, shoot people and hang them, that takes on a whole other connotation. So that lets you know how strong, but also how big the divide is between the gap of understanding between some of the people here.
Yeah. So now, I did have the opportunity to speak to the mayor, and like you said, he seemed really excited. And the event went off. There were a lot of people. It was very diverse. Actually, there were more white people there than black. At least the time I was there, and I was there from the beginning to the end, nothing negative. Now, fast forward a little bit. Since then, you've had the opportunity to be on another podcast, and you were able to talk about some of the things that has been going on or you're planning on doing in Newcastle. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Well, we decided that there was a whole lot of things that occurred all at once. We decided that the group grew from, it started out as the George Floyd vigil situation to an actual group, because a lot of people really wanted to learn more and to know more so they can do better. And I appreciate that, and all of us did. And I think that having a more important community comes with a whole lot of education, because there's a lot of it needed. But so we decided that we were going to create a group called the Light Keepers, and to get people together to have community discussions, because I can tell you how I feel, and other black and brown people in the community can tell each other how they feel. But if you are not talking across the board, then people don't know. They know what they see on TV and the stereotypes they have about people. If you're not in a regular contact with people of different cultures than you, then you really don't know. So the whole goal was to try to bridge that gap and get some community roundtables together, a community town hall. I mean, you got to be kind of careful with COVID. We were going to do a virtual town hall. And in the midst of that, and also the voter registration drive to get people engaged, because a lot of people were super excited about what could we do and how can we change things. And basically, a lot of it has to do with voting. You've got to get a little political. So we figured we would try to foster that. And what ended up happening is we had one of our sitting Henry County Council members. To be fair, he has been making inflammatory posts on his Facebook profiles for a very long time, years, not just recently, for years. And, you know, people have unfriended him. He retired from the high school. He was the assistant principal at the high school for many years. And after that, he ran for Henry County Council, and he had a Ken and Gray Henry County Council page where he posted. He also had a private page as well. But on his page, he would post things like, I personally had experience with Kenan because there was the incident where Michael was asked to, they called the police on Michael and had him escorted out of class by 2 police officers.
And when you say Michael, who are you referring to?
Oh, my son Michael.
Okay.
My son Michael. They had my son Michael escorted out of class at the high school because he was laughing, and the teacher felt it was threatening, as opposed to just have the officer, the school security officer, come and get him. The laugh apparently was just so threatening, they had to call in extra police officers. At the time, I was working at the middle school, so I was very close. And so the incident, I don't believe, was taken very seriously by the school. What they said was, you know, we don't really have a race problem here. We're really sorry this happened. Let's not make it this bigger than it needs to be situation. So that was my experience with Kenan. So
and his position at the school was?
The vice principal.
Okay, he was a vice principal at the time.
The vice principal.
At the time, or still?
No, at the time.
Oh, okay.
And there were other incidents that happened at the school, and it was basically treated the same way while he was vice principal, where we don't want to draw a whole lot of attention to it because we don't want people to think that there is some sort of scary race issue here, which obviously the issue was that nobody wanted to talk about it or deal with in consequences.
Right.
Fast forward to now, he was posting on his Kenan for Henry County Council page some fairly inflammatory posts that he considered political, and I tried to. Other people in the group and in Lightkeepers were very upset. Now, it's not that I wasn't upset about what he was posting. I just knew that I already had personal experience with the man and did not want to step in the fray until necessary. And he posted, one of the posts that he posted, and this was on the Ken and Gray for Henry County Council page, was it was about reparations and how he didn't feel like, why should I have to pay for something that I didn't do to people who weren't born when it happened, sort of thing. But at the top of that, it said, they are already receiving reparations. It's called welfare.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So you can say that a lot of things are political, or we can agree to disagree, but that was blatantly racist. So there is a girl in town, lady in town, woman in town who is always been along. She's lived in Newcastle all of her life. She has a biracial child, And she was really, really, really upset. She started a petition to have him removed from Henry County Council.
Oh, wow.
For inflammatory comments, which, I mean, public servant, you're supposed to be representing the whole community.
Right.
Well, we're here, there are Black and brown people here too. So, she started the petition. We saw it and we thought, you know what, we've got to support her. So that's exactly what we did. And so, there are so many things. I will, like I said, I will try to send you the binder because it kind of paints the story for you. But so we decided to do that. Her petition, I think the last time I checked, had over it was almost to 1,000 signatures.
Wow.
The last time I checked. Now I'm not, it may be over that now.
Yeah,
but
that's almost the whole size of Newcastle. 1,000.
That's a lot of people. So we decided to go to the council meeting, the Henry County Council meeting. Now, what was interesting is they told us it was on one date and it was on another. They first said there were rumors that it was going to be virtual, and then it wasn't. So there was a lot of confusion going on with that. And I'm not saying that the council members said that. I'm just saying that that's what the information that we received. So we decide to get involved, and we were going to meet. We asked the public to wear green and meet with us at 5 p.m. with her, so we could stand with her while she presented her words to the council. And we all wanted to say something as well. That was the most that I have spoken at meetings before. And that was the most interesting meeting I've ever been to. It was a whole lot like the Twilight Zone.
Wow.
Normally everything's nice and polite and everybody are saying nice things and trying to be cordial to each other. That was not the case. For the most part, it was nice to see government in action, however, because I think that's the way it's supposed to be. You need to make sure you hear the public speak, but keep in mind the meeting started at 6 o'clock and I believe I got home at 10:30.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, well, because normally when you get on an agenda to speak at a meeting, your time limit is unlimited. Well, ours was not. We were supposed to have 2 minutes to speak. One of the council members, Clay Morgan, suggested that we have 5 minutes to speak. There was quite a bit of discussion about that. Anyway, we were speaking for 5 minutes at that point, which is good because I had my little 2-minute speech all ready to go. But I knew what Melanie was trying to do was going to be longer than that. So I was going to donate my time.
And when was this?
The meeting?
Yes.
That was last night.
Okay. So last night.
That was last night. Right. I took our mother with us.
Okay.
Who was channeling her 1960 protest vibes.
All right.
I had to direct her that we were in a meeting and she was not allowed to shout out. But I can't lie, it was fun to watch. It was good to see her get so involved.
I hope everyone was wearing masks.
They were.
Okay, good.
I mean, at first they weren't gonna let us in. They were gonna let a couple people in at a time, and then the next thing you know, the room is full. So it was fairly hard to social distance. We all got to say what we needed to say. The council did not pass. Honestly, the only thing that really could have happened to him if he, according to the rules, is that he would be censured or he could resign. Let's just say neither of those things happened. He did ask for forgiveness. He did cry.
Oh, wow.
Oh, yeah, he did. He cried. He doesn't believe that he's racist. He did acknowledge that the reparations welfare post was racist, and the reason why it was posted was because he didn't read it. He didn't see that part.
So he just posts things that he doesn't read.
Right.
Or
right.
repost, I guess, because he didn't do it. Yeah, okay.
No, he didn't know that part was on there. So, which, you know, it begs the question, because at first, on the front page of the paper, which is public knowledge, 2 days in a row, he stated, actually, the first thing he did is when the citizens were emailing him, he sent back from his Henry County Council email that he really wanted to know what memes everyone was upset about, because he believed that he was hacked. So, you know, which was interesting, because most of the time when someone hacks you, you don't respond to people when they're being hacked. You don't comment.
Right, have it back and forth or something.
Yeah, no, I mean, I'm not saying that it doesn't happen that way. I just have not really witnessed it being like that. And then after that, after he was hacked, on the front page of the paper, he said he was visiting ailing relatives in Texas. And when he got back, he was going to quarantine for 14 days. Well, 2 days later, there was a planning commissioners meeting and he was there. So weird that wasn't 14 days. So it didn't seem very truthful.
Right.
And then my personal favorite was afterwards, the next article was, he was deeply apologetic because he does not see race. So
Doesn't see race.
He doesn't see it. He didn't see it. He didn't see it.
Okay.
Not something he sees. So, you know me, when it was my turn to speak, I had a nice little 2-minute speech worked out because I was planning on donating my time, but there were some very insensitive and inflammatory comments made by the council members. And so I had to throw my speech all the way out. But I did tell them when I got up there, for those of them who didn't see race, that I was a Black woman, just in case they didn't know, because they didn't see it. I did tell them that when I got up there. I was like, just in case, I am a Black woman, for those of you guys who don't see race. One council member compared, basically, you will need to watch the video because it is something.
You have the video?
Well, yeah, there's the video. I mean, it's a long one because that meeting was long, but I'll give you I'll let you know when you can see what I said. But I'll let you know why I said what I said, and I'll let you know that. But basically, there was a council member who said that, you know, racism is a matter of opinion. It's kind of like, and I'm paraphrasing, she said it way less eloquently than this, that it's kind of like, you know, if your family members don't like green beans, it's just a difference of opinion. And I'm like,
totally different.
She just compared racism to green beans. And that is why, if you see on Facebook, there people that were at the meeting, and there was a lot, which was also exciting because you don't see people involved. Like, there's a handful of people there. So it was really nice to see that many people at the meeting. But if you see any memes about racism and green beans, on there, I started that trend, just so you know.
Also, I have to look for that.
And there were other people after me that also mentioned the green bean racism thing, but I just couldn't believe that how tone deaf that was. Very. Like, this isn't a matter of we're going to agree to disagree. This is a morality issue. There's a big difference here.
Right.
So that's but I tell you that it was good to see how it worked, but I tell you, it's the strangest meeting I've ever been to. I don't know whether you've watched that show Parks and Rec.
No, I'm familiar with it, but yeah. It
was kind of like that, but worse. So
now you got me excited to see an episode of the Parks and Recreation.
Oh yeah. Well, I tell you what though, it's probably that at least is way more amusing than what we were discussing. And there were, oh my gosh, there were so many really, really good speakers. so I hope you have an opportunity to watch it, and you will. Our Uncle Skippy spoke.
Oh,
He was,
wow.
yeah, it was
Is
really.
is the link? Is there a link on Facebook, or is there or?
Yeah, I will. A lot of people went live, but because the meeting went from it was fairly interesting. They were like, well, we're going to try to close business down for this meeting around 7 p.m. It started at 6. We didn't get started till 6:15. They didn't start taking public comments until I think it was 6:57, and they're like, yeah, we're trying to shut down at 7. And I'm like, yeah, that ain't going to work.
Right.
So, that's when things got crazy. There was a man, Scott Lundy, who is one of my Facebook friends. I don't know if you're familiar with him.
That name sounds familiar, but off the top of my head, I can't remember.
Well, he got kicked out of the meeting. So there was that moment too.
Oh, wow.
Things got a little crazy. So yeah, you'll want to watch it. Like I said, the good parts, I'm not saying that talking about taxes and different groups aren't good parts, but the good parts are when the public actually gets to speak and how they feel.
Yeah.
And that's really good. And there were some really amazing speakers. Like I said, people who didn't plan on speaking, I think it's because some of the comments that were made really, really got to people.
Wow.
So.
Yeah. So we have a couple minutes left, and I wanted to kind of go back a little bit to the link or the video, so people that watch the podcast can know where to go. So if you go to Facebook, is there a certain like Henry County
there
board?
Is
okay
I can send you the link, and then you can post it when you post
okay
it.
That'd
So
be
you
great.
can do that.
Yeah,
because there were so many people doing live links, but because the meeting lasted so long and there's nowhere to charge your phone, people had to stop. And there was one particular one person who recorded it, and she managed to get the whole meeting.
okay.
And I do have that one. So
Okay.
And so you can, have a look at that one. So it's not so choppy or whatever, but that part was actually sort of interesting because people were like, oh, who's speaking now? I got to turn on the phone. I got to turn off the phone to, save the battery. So It was really good. I hear the paper was there too, but I know that one of the reporters were there. So I don't really know. There was a lot of people in the crowd that I was not familiar with, which is also good. Because that means more people are listening. So, but yeah, I will share the link with you, and then you can post it.
Awesome.
And then,
is there anything else you'd like to say before we end?
Oh yeah. So before we end, I wanted to say, make sure you also check out the Light Keepers of Henry County. We're the Henry County Light Keepers. We're a group of faithful few people, and we want to. Our motto is education and empathy and equity. So we try to keep it simple, and we want to educate people, and we want to try to bridge the gap of understanding. And our founders are myself, Aaron Mann, Keegan Thomas, and Trish Crow. And it's been pretty amazing. We started out just doing let's do a get together, let's do a vigil, and now it's growing. Somebody actually said, they're like, well, do you have a chapter of the NAACP in Newcastle? I was like, I don't think we've had one here for many years.
And or can you send me the link? Do you guys have on Facebook or a website or anything like that?
Yep.
Okay. Send me the link, and I'll be sure when I post this, I'll include those 2 links.
Yep.
Right.
So yeah.
Awesome.
So that's good. Thank you so much for having me on. It was great.
Yes, I'll definitely have you back. Thank you very much for all the work that you're doing there in Newcastle and bringing awareness. And you and the Light Keepers is what it's called, right?
Yes.
Awesome.
Yes.
And were those the same people that were holding all the lights at the Juneteenth where you were lined up?
Yes.
Okay. Awesome. All right, Mary. Thank you again. I love you, and I look forward to seeing you again.
All right. Bye. Thanks.
Yeah. Bye-bye.